Hello, everybody. My name is Rachel Ply.
Peter, are you excited for the next time we play Baldur's Gate 3 and you'll finally get to meet Minthara and you'll be...
And also Halson.
And also Halson, finally. He's in jail right now.
Don't worry about that part. Probably fine.
I'm sure he's okay.
Halo Reach! Get your Baldur's Gate out of here! Welcome to the podcast. I'm Alina.
I'm Peter.
I'm Cole.
And today we're talking about Halo Reach, specifically.
Going in timeline order as far as video games are concerned.
As best as we can. ODST, you are the bane of my timeline existence. Anyway.
I don't know if this is how your end of things will have captured it. But when you killed Halo Reach, it got capped by your microphone.
It ended up being really quiet.
I can tell by the audio capture of the microphone that I have directly connected to OBS as opposed to voice mod that definitely didn't happen on my end. Because the entire bar became red instantaneously.
It just sounded like you were really far away.
Halo Reach.
As far away as Halo reaches chronologically to right now.
Yeah, well, actually, that's the closest chronologically, because Halo takes place in the future.
Either the game's release date, but also that works. That's still pretty far in the future, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't... Huh?
Yawn.
I would have to think that it is.
It's like 200 years in the future, I think. I'm bad at numbers. When does Halo happen?
Oh.
I'm looking it up. Sorry, did I
I
say
can't believe
200? I meant 500 years in the future.
We were starting the first Halo video with a lore fact you don't know off the top of your head. It feels cruel somehow, but
It's
also...
fine. I know the important
matter.
stuff. When it happens is irrelevant.
I mean, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
I suppose.
It's more important that you know it's in the future. That's it. Yes, just disclaimer for any really diehard Halo lore fans, I have not read any of the books. All of this is game lore. And that's it. So if you're gonna try to...
How much of the books are still canon anyway?
I don't know. The only Halo books I do have are no longer canon, as one of them is literally the basis of Halo Reach and doesn't work anymore because they replaced the Master Chief with Noble Six. That's a fun fact.
The game can't.
Well, I mean, yeah, they can't have the first chronological game end with Master Chief fucking dying.
True.
No, they could, and then he just wakes back up. There's no explanation for it.
He gets hit directly with a fucking laser.
They could have done it if they weren't cowards.
See the Master Chief you follow around on the Pillar of Autumn? It's not real. It's a ghost.
Everything past Reach is actually a collective hallucination.
It somehow has like real physical effects on the world.
He's just that powerful.
So strong. Master Chief is so powerful that after he dies on Reach, he becomes like a fucking psychic entity hallucinated by the human race.
Yeah, he was simply so powerful in life that he managed to astral project his ghost into the rest of the Halo world and continue living as if he were still alive, effectively.
This is what makes him like the demon to the Covenant.
Yeah,
This is why he
it's the
can't
fact
be
that-
killed. He's already dead.
It's the fact that he's a fucking ghost. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Halo Reach.
I mean, it's only like 3 months of in-game lore. Really.
Yeah. Halo Reach. Halo Reach. Oh boy. Halo Reach is a prequel, technically. To
What do you
the
mean technically?
okay, it's a prequel. And it's actually technically the last Halo game that Bungie came out with before they switched to Destiny. But
Has to glance in Peter's direction. The
No,
only
you
one
said
of us here who's
you
played
said it with the
Destiny.
exact kind of disdain that I would have.
But yeah, so even though it's the last entry in the franchise, it is the first chronologically.
Last entry in the franchise that Bungie made to continue to be specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
Bungie made. Yeah.
I don't want pedants in our comments, alright? I want all the pedants in the room with us.
So, Halo Reach follows the horrific tragedy of the planet Reach. This story does not end like all the others where, you know, cool explosion, everything's fine.
No, cool explosion, everyone dies.
Yeah, well, not even that, really. Everything turns into glass and all your friends are dead, including you. And it follows the story specifically of Noble Team, even more specifically of Noble 6. What's their real name? They don't have one. It's you. It's you. It's a customizable character that you see in
Whatever your
cutscenes.
name.
They can be a boy or a girl, and they can just straight up look like one of the other members of the team because some of their cosmetics are in there, and that's kind of funny to me. But anyway, you are
Mimics horror.
there are multiple references in the beginning to Noble 6 being a lone wolf of sorts before being transferred to Noble Team. And that they're filling some shoes, so I can only assume that somebody on Noble Team fucking died and they needed a replacement and fast. So basically your first mission is not to fight the Covenant, but to fight some rebels reported in the area. So you go,
Spartans were made in the first place.
Yes, the reason that Spartans were made in the first place was to defeat rebels, not Covenant. The Covenant coming at the same time the Spartans were ready to go is just a coincidence, to be quite frank with you.
There's so much random shit to possibly have to cover. I don't know if you want to answer the question of what is a Spartan.
A Spartan is a biologically enhanced human being that was conscripted at the age of 6. Most of them either got horribly mutilated by the process or just fucking died. But those who did survive got shoved into suits that would normally mangle a normal person. And then got told to go fight some rebels.
They're Super Saiyans, basically.
I don't think that's what a Super Saiyan is, Peter.
I think you aren't read up on your Dragon Ball lore. I haven't even watched the show, so you know I'm a true fan.
This is the kidnapped as children stuff. Is that only true of the Spartans 2? The Spartan 2s? Because
Yes.
Spartan 1s were volunteers, and then Spartan 3s were not kidnapped as children. I forget what their deal is.
I don't remember. All I know for certain is that the 2s were conscripted as children, and then the most recent ones are just people in fancier suits that don't crumble them like a tin can. So, tech improvement, I guess. But anyway.
just gonna rub at me. I'm gonna look up what a Spartan 3 is. You can keep going.
Okay. But yes, so your first mission is to fight some rebels, which is, you know, your purpose in life. But after harassing some locals and after harassing some locals and, you know, running around and having a fun time, you realize these aren't rebels. These were actually Covenant. Yeah, you're here to fight Covenant. You, after running around and fighting a ton of Covenant and finding some cool data, you tell Command that, hey, these ain't no rebels, this is some Covenant, and the Command, instead of being like, oh, here's a plan, they just go, oh, well, God help us all, and you're on your way to the next mission. Oh.
Man, these aren't rebels, these are Covenant. Fuck! Do we have a plan? No. Have fun.
A very quick scan of the Halopedia is telling me that Spartan 3s were essentially like just super buffed up ODST people. They weren't selected from the ODST. A lot of them were orphans from colonies that had rebelled. But
I love Oni so much.
No, this was the government. Oni didn't do this one.
This was the UNSC? Oh god.
Yeah, there was yeah. But the UNSC like employed Oni to do what it did essentially, so it was...
Then again, Halsey. Then again, once they realized that Halsey
was...
Yeah, once they realized that Halsey kidnapped children in order to do it, they were like, "That is not what we asked you to do. Go to jail."
Again, this is just a skim, so this is probably at least more than a little inaccurate. But it seems like these orphans were not kidnapped. But they were orphans, so I don't think they understood the gravity of the situation that they were going into.
They were exploited due to their unfortunate situation.
That the UNSC caused in the first place.
What do you mean unfortunate situation? They're orphans. They have no parents to tell them it's better. Winning.
They can eat all the ice cream they want, and they don't have to wait until they're adults.
You can eat all the ice cream you want in the military. Obvious lies. There were more Spartan 3s than there were Spartan 2s, although they were generally less effective and significantly more, saying more traumatized is probably not accurate, given that, you know...
Children.
Yeah. But, I'm gonna say differently traumatized.
Yeah.
Because, God, did they die in spades!
Well, the Spartan 2s also died in spades, which is probably why there's less of them than the 3s, because they got killed during the process of becoming super soldiers.
Yeah. So not only were there less Spartan 2s to begin with, they also died in that process. The Halopedia here is telling me that the casualty rate on most Spartan 3 missions was 100%. So, like, they accomplished the missions, but they all died in the process.
Every single one of them is a suicide squad.
Literally.
Dear God.
So, like, they were able to accomplish missions that, like, standard military would not be able to do because they were still Spartans, but they died in the process.
Like, they just barely were able to do it. Just barely.
That's what I'm saying. Differently traumatized in the process of their military service.
Yeah, but yeah. So you go to the next mission, which is trying to deal with the Covenant threat on Oni Sword Base.
What does Oni stand for? Do you know off the top of your head? I think it's Office of Naval Intelligence.
Yeah, I think that's it. I was thinking that. Let me look it up. What?
Yeah, we can
Oni stand for?
Listen, well, we have wikis open.
Oh, Office of Naval Intelligence. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah, we're right.
We were right. Good job.
We don't need to check anything else anymore.
Nope.
We're always right.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're like a generally secretive, tangentially governmentally related thing that
Yes.
there's a lot of unethical stuff a lot of the time.
Yeah, like conscripting 6-year-olds.
And it was specifically Halsey. It was specifically her idea. This is not to exonerate the rest of Oni, but from what I understand, he was kind of on like a whole other level of war crime.
Yeah. Yeah. She's who Cortana
Equality win. The person who did the most war crimes in the Human Covenant War is a woman.
Woo! Girl power.
Do you think that there are some people like girl powering Halsey in the same way that there are people girl powering fucking Margaret Thatcher right now?
I can't answer that, as I do not follow Margaret Thatcher in any way, shape, or form.
Enough. We'll just leave that as a fun hypothetical for the viewers.
Okay.
It's an open-ended question for them.
Yeah, so anyway.
Yeah, viewers, your homework is to find out the answer to this question.
Podcast assigned homework.
But yeah, so you go to Oni Sword Race, you do your mission, it goes well, everything's fine right now.
Guys, I've been on the squad for all of like 2 missions and things are going great. Foreshadowing is a literary device.
Foreshadowing is a literary a trope even.
Tropes are a literary device in which... I'm cutting myself off. Continue.
Okay.
Just because they're both rectangles does not make either of them squares.
But yeah, so that mission goes fine. You're basically just taking down. You're putting up anti-air defenses, essentially. And then you go into Sword Base, where you go up a bunch of stairs. You're followed by George, the best character, and
Foreshadowing.
shut. And then, you get all the way up to the tippity top of Sword Base, and after blowing up some banshees with a rocket launcher, you take down a big old ship with the power of some jets that you had no control over. But that's what happens. You then go and meet Halsey. Dr. Halsey, the one that conscripted you when you were 6. Where she sort of tries to figure out what exactly happened at your first mission in more detail, because you see some of the Covenant you encountered there weren't normal Covenant. Some of them were Zealot class elites, which are usually deployed to find spooky artifacts for their religion. So Halsey's trying to figure out why the fuck they were there. And also, full on just like calls out Kat, basically the tech person of the group, and is like, hey, so like you stole that data thing that you're holding, give it back.
Stealing from war criminals is always morally correct.
We actually stole it off of a
back.
corpse.
Girl power.
Stealing from dead people is also sometimes morally correct.
Yes.
If that dead person was in a higher tax bracket than you, you're morally correct.
I don't know if Spartans pay taxes. I think they're just property of the government.
They're tax funded.
Well, okay, if the Spartans make no money, then stealing from their corpses is automatically morally wrong.
Yeah.
I also think it's fundamentally impossible for the average person to steal something from a Spartan corpse because it would just be too heavy. Also, an aside, the reason I wanted to
Nature supports my claim. Then
the reason I wanted to delineate between Spartan 2s and 3s was because I thought that most people on Noble Team were Spartan 3s. I know that Noble 6 is one at least.
Yeah.
I don't remember about the others.
I doubt George is a 3. George is too big.
George is too... Yeah, probably then. That's fair.
But yeah, so where was I? Oh yeah, so ship go boom, meet Halsey. Halsey bitch about Data. And then you cut to a sniper level where you find out that the Covenant have these weird force field beacon thingies. And you gotta take them down. That's really all the relevant information in that mission. It's literally mostly just a sniper fest and nothing else.
My favorite level to play, I say, is someone who can't aim. Also, second aside, I did just look at it. Everyone on Noble Team, except for George, is a Spartan 3.
I knew it! Yes! Let's fucking go. No wonder George is the best character.
I feel like you're a little biased, but I'm willing to let it go.
Shut. But yeah, so that's what you find out on that mission. Next mission, you get to go do you basically lots of explosions happen, including yourself careening off of a bridge into an area. Once again, well, actually, no. Instead of providing air support, you are denying the Covenant air support by blowing up their shit.
Potato, potato.
After doing this for a while, you're eventually escorted to one of the force field thingies, beacon thingies, and after taking that down, the UNSC decides the best thing to do is to take one of those big Macround ships and fucking shoot it in atmosphere, which is a bit overkill, which is what you would think until a giant-ass Covenant ship that just basically consumes the sky, glasses that thing in half. Which is when things start to kind of take a turn for the worst.
Only then.
Yeah.
Not when the Covenant first showed up.
Yeah. Well, at first you're kind of winning.
That's when we still thought we had a fighting chance.
Yeah,
that's fair.
At first you're kind of winning all these battles, but then at this moment it's like, oh shit. So now the plan is to take down the big ship obscuring the sun, which is done by
like literally miles long.
Yeah, they're massive.
They're fucking huge.
They are massive ships. They're very large. They take up the sky. In any game they show up in, unless they're really high in the air.
Or in space.
Yes. None of them are as big as High Charity though, but we'll get there eventually. Anyway. So basically the next step is destroying this thing. How are you gonna destroy this thing though? Clearly the Macround fucking spaceship doesn't do jack shit to it. So Kat, the tech lady, comes up with a very interesting plan, where basically you use these totally non-existent space shuttles from a totally non-existent space shuttle launching site that Oni definitely doesn't own, and you launch them into space. You get a Covenant cruiser, little one, cause it to have a slip space rupture, quote unquote, accident, right under the fucking Covenant mothership, and then that will just split the thing in half. That's the plan. It's outlandish, but it'll work. it'll kill that thing. So first thing is getting the cruiser though. So you get in your non-existent spaceship with George, and you go legally non-existent spaceship with George, and you go first. You defend a space station from Covenant trying to attack it. You succeed, good job. And then you go to the cruiser. You take out its engines. You land on top of it after destroying all of the little flies going about it, because you don't want them to tell anybody that this is happening. And then you get in. You kill all the Covenant. Everything's going pretty okay until the background ship that came with you fucking explodes. Because the cruiser was shooting it this whole time and they didn't pull away. So your ride out of here is gone. So things are still kind of going shit, but you get the cruiser, you get it under your control, but you get George in the ship, and he has the Pelican, another tinier ship, that has the bomb on it that's gonna cause the slip space thing to go woo. Or is it just a slip space thing that's set to go woo? Either way, the slip space thing is gonna go woo. George gets in, you defend the area, 'cause video game, and then you go meet up with George, who then proceeds to tell you, good news. The only way we get out of the ship is by plummeting from orbit. Bad news. I have to set this off manually. He then proceeds to pick you up like the tiny little Spartan 3 you are, and throw you off of the ship.
It's a good thing that even Spartan 3s can survive drops from orbit.
Yeah.
Seems to be a trait that's not exclusive to any particular kind of Spartan. They can just all do that.
That's a requirement in the Spartan listings. Like, can you survive orbit? Yes, you're a Spartan.
No wonder the wiki I read.
Can you survive orbit? No, we will fix that.
We will fix that. For people who are possibly unfamiliar with the substance, slip space is just fucking it's fast travel.
Yeah, it's like going hyperspeed.
Yeah, you make like a little wormhole and you blop through it to go somewhere else.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, George basically sacrifices himself to save Reach from this impending Covenant force. The ship is cracked in half, and then you realize there's more than one of them. And in fact, there's a whole fleet of them, same size, same amount of glassing power. That one.
Okay, guys. We have more Georges in the back.
More Georges in the back.
Yeah, one George equals one ship.
Unfortunately, you don't. George is just gone. And you fucking crash land on the planet at some random area where you quickly figure out what's kind of going on in the area. Basically, it's civilian evacuation. You are trying to get these civilians out of this less than good environment for their longevity.
They're really just civilians if they're on Reach, though. They're like government personnel, aren't they?
No, Reach is a colony.
No? It's full-ass colony?
Yeah. It's,
Dude,
the first normal people you encounter are just farmers.
Last time I played Reach, it was up until the point you get hucked out by George with you. several months ago. Before
no,
then, it's been years.
Yeah, no. They're all. I don't know if they're all normal people because they all look the same, but most of them I'm pretty sure are just like normal
I only have
people.
like 2
Are you
different
sure you're not a
character
Covenant?
models. Are you sure you're not a Covenant? All humans look the same to me.
Yeah, and fun fact, if you kill any of those civilians, the game kills you immediately. So
What if it was a misfire?
In real life, you die in real life.
Die in real
the
life?
civilian dies in the game, you die in real life. But anyway, fun facts aside. So basically you're helping with civilian evacuation. Not because you were assigned to do so, but because you're just kind of here. And everything's kind of hectic right now, so you might as well.
I have nothing better to do.
Yeah, so after doing that for a bit and witnessing 400 people fucking die in an instant, because a pilot wasn't patient enough, the rest of Noble Team finally finds you, and they're like, hey, where's George? And you're like, about that. The reunion.
He said he wanted ice cream. He'll be back later.
He said he was gonna go get some
Noble
milk.
6 looks at all of them and says nothing.
Stares at him. Yeah, so you basically the next mission.
Went out for ice cream. We'll see him later.
And what
one
flavor
day.
of ice cream are you gonna get, George? Slip space rupture.
Is that new Ben & Jerry's?
New flavor, Ben & Jerry's ice cream, slip space rupture.
It takes every fiber of my being to not say detected after slip space rupture because of that entire segment after George dies where the AI is just saying slip space rupture detected over and over and over again to emphasize, hey, there's more ships coming. And the computer cannot compute how many are coming. Anyway. So yeah, after doing some civilian control, you do some military control by having Kat basically tell you to go help random buildings full of military personnel turn off things. I don't remember what they do, but they're things. And they shouldn't be on, so we have to turn them off or blow them up. Turning them off blows them up, though. Either way, you blow them up. Anyway.
Who designs something so turning it off makes it explode?
Maybe you
Dr.
do.
Heinz Doofenshmirtz.
Man, I can't believe Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz was a senior engineer in the UNSC.
In the Covenant.
In the Covenant.
In the Covenant, because these
Sorry.
these are Covenant machines you're turning off.
Same difference.
Yeah,
It's all military.
No. But yeah, so that's that mission, and then Kat basically tells you to come help the main base they're operating in. You do that, and then you get to land, because this is all flying. Once you're in, it's looking pretty bleak. Noble Team is not questioning whether or not they're losing, more have they already lost?
Answer is yes.
Yes. Command is no longer using secure channels to try to talk to Noble Team. They're just sort of on the radio like, hey, pick up the fucking phone. Like, things are getting dire. And then they get even worse because Kat's like, oh, hey, this radiation spike is really close. I wonder what it is. And then a glassing happens right next to the building. Yeah, so y'all try to run. Y'all try to run out of the building because you don't want to be at the top of a skyscraper when a glassing's happening. That could end poorly for everybody involved. In the panic, Kat forgets to lock her helmet on, which turns the shielding on the suit. And y'all are running for more elevators, and she gets shot in the head. So that's another dead person. Everyone's dying all of a sudden. Oh gee.
Gee willikers.
Gee willikers. Yeah, so that doesn't go so well.
Really?
Yes.
Thought it was going swimmingly.
So,
For me, the Covenant.
for me, the Covenant.
It's so much easier than I thought to explode this place.
Yeah, so basically the next mission, you have been ordered by the UNSC to try to get Oni sword base back, or at least burn it to the ground. Which normally would be fine, except the Covenant literally own the whole damn place. So it's a bit more of a challenge than it was last time. So you go into the base. It's what?
Hold a hold of the nuke in your arms like a baby.
No, that's a different Halo game.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, so you go and you get in the base, which is a miracle.
Is it really a miracle?
It is so. That area is so fucking hard, man.
I mean, like a miracle. Like, is it positive for you to be in there right now?
I mean, it's the mission. I don't know. You don't want that information in Covenant hands. It's good you're in there. So you get in there, and you're led to an area, where you've been told to go based on your little AI friend that isn't Cortana. And you go around the corner, it's a dead end. Everyone's confused. The AI is like, whoops-a-daisies, here, let me change the coordinates, and it's underground. You don't know how to get there until the wall opens, and one walk later to a little train ride area, and wow, look, it's Halsey again. With her data stuff and the zealot things.
Halsey, how did you get here?
Halsey, how did you get here? So basically Halsey has been researching this ancient artifact under the base. It's this giant structure of Forerunner, unknown origin. That they have that Halsey has basically used in order to make a certain thing that'll turn the war around. Undisclosed thing, and she basically yoinks you from the UNSC, says you belong to Oni now, and
As you always have.
And
I don't care if the rest of you are Spartan 3s, I own you still.
I own you still. The one of you that was a Spartan 2 is dead. Too fucking bad.
George have like an unfathomable level of trust in Halsey. Am I remembering wrong?
No. Not really. He's kind of he's kind of surprised that she's there the first time she shows up, and then
reasonable.
Tries.
I'm surprised she's anywhere.
Yeah,
she
so
kind of shows up places.
Yeah. The data they got was off of a dead guy whose daughter was in the area in the first mission, and George is like, he's the softy, so he's trying to like comfort her, but he's a giant Spartan man, and she's scared. And so
giant even by Spartan standards.
Yes, and he tries to tell Halsey about the daughter, and Halsey literally just goes irrelevant, and then goes back to the data. So
Classic Halsey move.
classic Halsey move.
Condoning child abuse.
I wouldn't say that he trusts her. I don't know if he hates her, but I don't think he particularly likes her either.
Trust her to like get the job done, maybe.
Yeah, but that's I
her
think
whole fucking thing.
yeah, has a slight hope that she'd care a little bit about the people involved, but no. But anyway, basically this mission is just defend Halsey so the Covenant don't get in and take the super secret weapon that'll change the war. So you do that. It's basically just firefight. You go through a few rounds of Covenant, and then she's like, I'm good, get in.
How did she get here?
I don't know, man.
Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about it. It's classified by Oni.
Classified information. Meanwhile, in like Halsey's fucking personnel document, it's like, guys, Halsey can teleport, and I don't know how she keeps doing it.
Normally I would see that as like a pain point, but there are other characters that do the same thing in other Halo games. Where it's just like, how did you escape that? It's classified.
How did you get here? Subspace rupture.
Subspace rupture.
Okay, but when Johnson is like, it's classified. Like, at least there's like a book you can read about it that's questionably canon.
I prefer the fan-made YouTube video that I've never seen, but my dad's told me about. It's great. It's just pure comedy, not canon at all, but it's funny. But anyway, you get in the ancient thing, and Halsey reveals to you that the thing that changed the war is Cortana. It's Cortana. It's the AI from all the other games, Cortana. And she wants you to escort Cortana to the Pillar of Autumn, the ship that shows up in the first game. Which would be a oh my god moment if we weren't doing this chronologically. So she hands it to Noble Six. Because Noble Six
is Windows computer. Sorry.
Because Noble Six is the main character. So Noble Six gets the MacGuffin.
Here, you.
And then
mute psychopath.
Mute psychopath. And so
mute psychopath of indeterminate gender.
Every time I see you, you're in different armor and you have different physical attributes. I don't know.
Every time you look away from Noble Six and turn back, they just look entirely different.
Every time they reload, they're reloading a different gun.
Oh my god.
You just hear it.
You know, I'd hand that. I'd hand them the MacGuffin too.
Yeah.
I don't understand what they are, but clearly the company don't either.
Like, you're clearly a Spartan, but maybe you're also like a cryptid shaped like one. But who cares?
Maybe you're the real demon around here. That's why they had to glass you.
It's the only way. It's the only way to fucking calm down the quantum superposition that is your life.
Glassing you. See, that's the real reason they glassed Reach. They took one look at Six and went, "Oh no, we ain't dealing with that."
Mute psychopath of indeterminate gender is exactly how I describe the way that I play video games.
But anyway, yeah. So you're given Cortana, and now your mission is to get to the Pillar of Autumn, the last way out of the off of this fucking planet on this continent. So you make a mad dash, but before you make a mad dash, Jun, the sniper guy, the guy that you did the sniper level with, goes with Halsey. He does not die in the game. He is the only person of Noble Team in the entire game who does not die, at least on screen.
Who does not die in the video game.
Yeah. So, that's a fun fact. But anyway, yeah, he goes off to protect Halsey, which...
One clap for June.
I hope that got through.
Hooray.
Yes. Another interesting fact is that that Noble One, the leader, basically tells Jun not to let any information fall into enemy hands, which is him basically saying if the Covenant are about to take Halsey, shoot her in the fucking head. Because we can't let them have that.
I agree.
He's also kind of a chatterbox.
This is a good directive. I think maybe you should shoot Halsey regardless. And justify it to your superiors later.
Shoot first, ask questions later, yeah.
Well,
shoot
if you
first,
shoot
be asked
Halsey, you don't
questions.
have anything left to protect, so you can come back with us.
Yeah, and
Come
die.
back with us. Yeah,
You can die
exactly.
with us.
You'll be safer with the rest of the squadron.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
obviously.
So anyway, you're flying to the Pillar of Autumn, which, you know, the smart thing to do, except your Pelican goes to shit, along with Noble One. He doesn't die yet, though. He's just sort of in critical condition. So you and Emil, the last one standing, is also the only one who never shows his face. He just has a skull face.
Skellington.
Skellington. You guys...
And Undertale.
It's symbolic of the fact that he's gonna fucking die.
Yeah, so you
That's why
guys...
the challenges in these games are called skulls for a reason.
They're all Emil in disguise.
They're all in real.
He lives on in every other game as well.
Even before he ever existed.
Well, actually, they do exist in that book I mentioned.
Yeah, but that was still written after, like, the first game.
Yeah. But the first game... No, the first game had skulls. They just weren't... You couldn't, like, just turn them on. You had to find them every time.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, so you jump out of the Pelican with Emil. No parachute, because you can survive orbit. This is fine. Y'all land on the dirt, and it's basically just a mad dash to the Pillar of Autumn. You keep pushing for the Pillar of Autumn. That's the whole thing. Captain keys of the Pillar of Autumn, the guy in the first game of Combat Evolved, which would be an oh my gosh moment if we didn't go in chronological order.
If we do this in release order,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes, but it's not, so it's fine. Basically,
It'll be
it's
an
like,
oh my god next Halo episode.
yeah,
Fine.
yeah. He basically is like, yo, this is the Pillar of Autumn. Get the package here.
Please.
Please. So, you keep going. You get to the Pillar of Autumn, and you have to basically defend the place where Captain Keyes and his crew are gonna come down in a Pelican and swoop you up. Because you got the MacGuffin. So, you defend. Emil... Yeah. And Emil takes the...
Made of light.
Hmm?
Joke continuation.
Emil takes the railgun, the really big railgun that's meant to shoot down ships. While
Gee.
And well, you defend the ground. You both defend successfully, and Keys comes down and is like, "Let's get out of here, bucko." Except you get shot at from the sky, and then Emil gets stabbed by, you guessed it, zealots.
Dang, forgot about those guys.
Yeah. So he gets
So does Emil.
stabbed. Yeah, and normally this would be fine. Normally you could just, get in the Pelican, go to the Pillar of Autumn, leave, except one of those big fucking motherships that glass things is just sort of hovering in the sky, and is going to glass this area at any second. So you're basically like, here, Keys, you take Cortana, I'm gonna go do the Mac gun thing. Gonna railgun that. So you go, you defeat all the zealots, you get the railgun, you do the shooty, you hit the glassing cannon on the big ship, and because of
Take a big
this,
old bite out of the glassing can.
yeah, and because of this, the Pillar of Autumn is able to escape Reach. And you're not. Normally this would be where the game ends, except Reach does a neat little thing where it's got this mission called Lone Wolf, where you just sort of are in the tundra of Reach, and the objective of the mission, quite literally, is to survive. And you just basically survive until you can't. This game, this mission, according to other people's research, not mine, because I don't have that kind of time, can go on forever. So
Impossible. As someone with significantly more free time, I also won't be doing this because I'm bad at Halo.
Yeah. Somebody basically, there was somebody who basically found like a workaround to surviving, where like they basically piled a bunch of boxes around themselves, so the Covenant couldn't hit them, or anything. Like no bullets, no grenades, nothing could get to them, and they just left the game running. To see if it ended, and it didn't. So it literally just goes on forever. And Halo Reach, the game, ends at the start of Halo Combat Evolved. So yeah, that's my plot synopsis of that.
There's a fun fact that I know about the ending scene of Reach, where if you move the camera around enough, you can barely see the Master Chief in a corner.
Yes, that is a thing. That is a thing you can do. It's very fun. That's the only time he appears in the game, and it's optional.
Technically does show up in Reach, but it's extremely optional.
He's in cryogenic sleep.
Yeah.
He is a popsicle.
He's a popsicle.
He's Eevee.
Master Chief popsicles, just like the Spider-Man popsicles. Imagine if you would, an ice cream bucket, but it's shaped like the Master Chief helmet.
That'd be amazing.
And you eat the ice cream out of the Master Chief helmet. So what are the things about Reach that make it good? What's your favorite thing about it? If you had to pick one or a few things.
My favorite thing about Reach is the characters.
I mean, okay. I guess that is the obvious answer.
Yeah, well, it's the characters.
Sorry.
Which a lot of times in Halo, the characters are my favorite because they're all good, but especially in Reach, because to give an example, Johnson. Sergeant Johnson is a character that appears chronologically later in the series. He's this sergeant who's all loud and has a bunch of quips, and he's very funny. He's a good
Classic,
character.
like, action movie Marine guy.
Yeah, classic action movie Marine guy, and it fully just lays into the trope, and it's great. He's one of my favorite characters.
I don't think Halo has bad characters exactly, but I
No.
would say for sure that, like, 1 through 3 do not focus very heavily on characterization of those
No.
characters.
No. See, that's, yeah. 1 through 3 focus more on the whole story, like what's going on in the story, which makes sense because the whole thing is, oh fuck, the galaxy's gonna die. um, so, like it's a lot more focused on the threat than it is on developing characters. Whereas Reach, although I wouldn't say Reach is developing characters, it is a lot more focused on them and their sort of reactions to what's going on as opposed to just what's going on. And it also gives them more time than the other games to actually, like, be characters and interact. So you get to learn that George, despite being the fucking massive Spartan 2 that he is, he's the kindest out of anyone there. Like, he's the most empathetic to civilians. You learn that Emil thinks this is stupid.
See, the skull face is not just because he dies, but because he's an edgelord.
Yeah. He's not an edgelord. It's just he thinks that George trying to be nice is pointless because he's so big and scary. To normal people. So like, George tries to, as I mentioned earlier, he tries to comfort this lady whose dad is just fucking dead in the room. And who just got attacked by zealot elites as a normal fucking person. And she keeps, like, rejecting these attempts, not because they're bad attempts, just because he's this big mechanical Spartan man. And she's kind of scared. And there's also this idea of, like, big metal Spartan man is cold-hearted robot boy. Like, there's literally a point where they're speaking in, like, Hungarian, but basically he says, oh, it's like she's like, that's my father, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, and then she says, why would you be? Yeah.
Is it your fault he's dead?
No, he was dead when we got there.
Absolutely.
He was dead when we got there because they got attacked by the elites. Yeah, there's Noble One, which I would argue is honestly the least developed because he's literally just the leader. Like, he has his moments
until you become the leader.
Until we become the leader, because we're the only one left.
The only one that makes it to the end, except for June.
Except for June.
who lives past me.
Yeah, Noble One. You can kind of tell from the naming alone, because everyone else has, like, they're all, like, Noble 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, which is you, but all of them go by their names. So you've got Kat, George, June, Emil, and then Noble One. He just goes by Noble One.
This doesn't like you, so it never tells you.
But yeah, so he doesn't have a lot of moments, but that's because he's too busy leading the whole time, so I get it. Like, he's too busy being like, oh man, this is a situation, I'm in charge, here, let me do my in charge thing. There's Kat, who's the tech person. and she has a robo arm because she's cool. She also can't drive in the game. I don't know why. I don't think any of the characters can drive in the game. If you put any of them in a vehicle, but
I
like,
think any character can drive because they wreck those vehicles in cutscenes all the time.
it's just like
You can
there's
drive.
an entire segment with Kat where like she keeps trying to drive the vehicle, and sometimes that results in her accidentally running you over or something, and so there's this whole stigma where it's like she can't drive. Don't let her anywhere near a vehicle. There's Jun, who's like, he doesn't talk much, but he gets his personality in there. Then you get to interact with him mostly in the sniper mission, where Kat is running the operation from a distance and basically says, "Oh yeah, just charge in there." And Jun's like, "No, here, have these really expensive sniper bullet 6. We're doing some sniping." You then meet a bunch of random civilians.
Sure, wants to be club everything to death with a sniper rifle. Disappointed.
My way of playing's worse. I just run past them all with the sniper in hand. But yeah, you meet a bunch of civilians who are like a little militia, and they're trying to defend their little territory. And then you find out they've been smuggling like weapons and stuff from the UNSC. And they're like, and the civilians are like, "What, are you gonna arrest me?" And Jun's like, "No, we're gonna steal it back." Not exactly a player of the books. Jun.
I can respect that.
Yeah. Then you have Emil. He's cool. You don't really get to fully interact with him until the very end, because that's the mission where you run around with him, because he's the only one left. And yeah, he's basically just like, I guess the thing that sums him up is his final words when he gets stabbed by the zealot elite. And
Stabbed by the zealot.
Zabbed by the zealot elite, yeah. Stabbed by the zealot elite. His final words are, and actions are pulling a knife out from like a little knife thing he has in his chest, stabbing the elite and saying, "I'm ready, how about you?" and then collapsing out of sight.
Oh my god.
So that's Emil. And then there's 6, who is you, who does say things, but not enough to garner a personality. Though it is apparently canon in the game that Noble 6 will sometimes just stare at people for no reason.
Yeah, the Spartan 3s are uniquely traumatized,
Well,
so it's
okay.
unsurprising.
It's because at this point, like, Bungie knew that people liked to stare at people in game to get, dialogue out of them, because that sometimes if you stared at someone long enough, they would spew dialogue at you, like, "Why are you staring at me?" like, do you need something? Something like that. So there's one you can get by chance where if you stare at Noble 1 for long enough, he'll just say, "This was in your file."
Yeah, the fact that it's in your psychological profile probably might have something to do with the intense PTSD you're experiencing.
Nah, they're just autistic.
That's also possible.
But yeah, so
If you combine intense PTSD with autism, does that make you stare at people for longer, more intensely? Is it multiplicative?
No, it gives you superpowers.
That makes you a Spartan.
and being able to fall from orbit.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely I would say that's at least half of that's probably the armor.
Nah.
No, drop a naked Spartan from orbit.
They'll be fine.
They'll live.
Yeah.
They might break every bone in their body, but they'll get up and walk it off.
They'll break every bone in their body as well as the ground below them.
But that'll happen if you drop anything from orbit.
True.
Yeah, but it's especially true with Spartans. They're just built different.
Just got dense bones.
Actually, yeah, kinda.
Yeah, literally, yes, dude. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, the best thing about Reach is honestly the characters. Just because they, like, not just because they all got these funny little quirks about them that we just discussed, but because like unlike Johnson, who, you know, is constantly badass military man the whole time.
He is a concept embodied.
Yeah, like down to his demise. That is just him. These characters' tones change as soon as what's happening on Reach changes. So they go from, like not like, quippy and stuff, but like pretty confident in their abilities and pretty confident in, like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go take down these Covenant places and we're gonna just do like we're doing great in our jobs, to so are we, like, did we lose already? I kind of don't want to die.
Thinking about the Veil of Death makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I thought that being in this program made me invincible.
You could right before Cat dies.
I thought the suffering was worth it.
I was wrong.
What's wrong?
Yeah, there's a moment before Cat dies where you get in the elevator with her to get away from the glassing. And she just sort of has this almost shy and nervous moment where she's like, your first glassing? Me too. And then she gets shot in the head. And as more people on Noble Team die, everyone just gets sadder because their friends keep dying. There's even a whole moment right before the glassing where, like, you can tell Emil is really fucked up about George dying. He does that type of, like, laugh when George is brought up in conversation, where it's like, it sounds like he finds something funny, but it is in fact him trying to deal with the fact that his friend is dead. And he doesn't know how to let the stress go other than laughing.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, once the situation gets, like, really, like you are trying to get to the Pillar of Autumn with the one thing that is gonna make sure that the human race doesn't fucking die, the moments of, reflection and sentimentality sort of go away because you're trying to get to the Pillar of Autumn. So when Noble 1 dies, which I forgot to mention, he basically kamikazes into a scarab that's trying to kill you. A scarab is a big spider-looking thing with a giant laser on its fucking stomach. You don't want to fight that on foot.
Yeah, he specifically suicide bombs it because he does not have the guns to take it out, so he just decides to crash his ship into it.
Yeah, that is literally Emil's like, you don't have the firepower, and he says, I've got the mass. And then fucking crashes into it. But yeah, no, it's like that moment does not, like, Noble 1 does not get any, mourning of any kind. Cat gets a little bit when they're in the train.
Well, I mean, they don't really have time to mourn Noble 1 by that point.
That's what I mean. Like you can tell the like, they're using these sentimental moments so that when you get to the end and there are no sentimental moments, you're like, oh shit, we don't have time. It's just like, we don't got time for that. We gotta go.
I don't have time to mourn. I have places to be and die at.
Yeah. What's the fate of humanity on your shoulders at this point? I'd be like, I will deal with that later. I gotta go. But yeah, and the other games before this do have moments like this, but they're not like, they're short. They're very quick. It's like if you looked away from the screen for 2 seconds, you'd miss it.
Yeah, like there's like I said, like there's no like there's not a shortage of character moments in
no.
of 1 through 3 if we're talking just about Bungie Halo. I feel like that's the most pertinent part because Reach was the last one that Bungie did.
Yeah.
It's just that Reach focuses so much more on the characters than the first 3 games do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sort of ties the whole campaign story together as a tragedy, because I feel like if they tried to go the same route as the other games and tried to paint it as a tragedy, it wouldn't have worked. Because it would just be action, 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 and then what do you mean everyone's dead? You know? Whereas in Reach, you know, they basically drive it in like, this isn't gonna, you aren't gonna win. You don't win this game. To the point where literally the last mission is unwinnable. Your objective is to survive and you can't. You can't do it.
It's not really it's not really a secret. I was kind of like a bit rude. It's very obvious that of course like Halo pulls from a bunch of different other like military sci-fi things as inspiration because that's what it is as well.
I can't wait to talk about Combat Evolved.
And so like the first 3 games I would say in tone are much more of like, you know, much more of like a classic like underdog situation where you are supremely disadvantaged but you're pulling through anyway.
Yeah.
Reach takes like a different angle that other military stories take, which is like you are doomed from the beginning.
Yeah, it's basically the underdog story, except the underdog never goes overdog. It just goes into the ground.
Yeah, from start to end, it is just fuck it, we ball.
Well, at first you're kind of winning a bit, and then everything goes to shit. Like, you think you're winning. Like, I shouldn't say you were winning. You thought you were winning. And then the gravity of the situation hits you with a bunch of slip space structures being detected. So
I remember when we played that moment, and you did keep saying, as the computer was saying, slip space structure detected. And I got very annoyed.
Yes.
My ears could not process the auditory sources simultaneously.
Yeah, but that moment is like soul crushing first time, because you're thinking this is gonna go like all the other games, you know, like you're gonna be the cool Spartan this time with a team and you're gonna win the day, and then all of these Covenant ships show up and the feeling gets a lot more somber and George dies and you're like a
minor setback, right, guys?
Yeah, right, guys. What do you mean Cat is dead?
Looks at the rest of Noble Team after George dies. Right, guys? You who knew George for the least amount of time is the least affected.
Yeah.
They're all supremely fucked up about this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, George is quite literally the I feel he's like, if you took the trope of the 5-man band, and you took the big guy and smashed the heart into it, that's George is a combination of those two 5-man band tropes And so not only did they kill off the big guy, which some media like kind of does, some media has the big guy get the shit kicked out of him to show the situation serious, but they also killed the heart, which when you do that means, oh no, everything's wrong. So they basically
Terrible news, everyone. We're doomed.
yeah. And like they literally mashed the two characters who, if they get beat up, everything is bad, and killed them at the same time in one guy. They hit two birds with one stone. You know?
And both of those birds were all of George's body.
Yep. The stone was a slip space rupture. How? How does Noble Team fit into a 5-man band? Now I'm curious.
Well, the smart one is probably Cat because she does tech stuff.
Cat's the smart one.
Obviously, Noble One is the leader.
Yeah.
I'd say that George is the heart, and I think Emil fits the like typical
big guy
yeah. Role there. I don't remember enough about Jun to know what he's up to.
Jun is a sneaky sniper boy.
Leader, Lancer, heart.
Leader, Lancer,
smart.
Heart, smart, big.
Big.
So we've got George's heart, Emil's big, Noble One is leader, Cat is smart.
Does that make us the Lancer or Jun the Lancer? Are we both Lancering at each other? Or is there just not one here? This doesn't always work.
Yeah, it doesn't always work. I was just wondering if it could work, and I wanted to run through the exercise. I don't think it does, because nobody really contests Noble One except for Cat once, and that's because she has a plan. And he thinks it's insane, and she's like, let me explain it anyway.
The point...
Insane it may be. You have a better plan?
The point of a Lancer narratively is to provide a different, is literally just to provide an opposing viewpoint to the leaders, and in whatever that may be, if that's to just introduce like narrative tension between the two characters, or if that's if the point of the story is literally like an ideological battle of wills where you have like two different sides represented by these two characters. And I think because this is like a tightly run military unit, I think there's not really a lot of room for a Lancer.
Yeah.
Because of the nature of how they work as a team.
Yeah, I think the closest we get to a Lancer moment is the one we talked about earlier, where George is trying to comfort the girl and Emil is like, you're big and scary. And then they get into they sort of lean at each other and glare, and Noble One's like, stop it. Cut it out, you two. Don't make me turn this Noble Team around.
Don't make me turn this Noble Team around.
If only they turned the Noble Team around.
If only. But yeah. Noble 6 is whatever you want them to be. Noble 6 is the self-insert. That's basically what Noble 6 is.
It's the point, yeah.
Yeah.
For the most tragic Halo game, you get to insert yourself into it.
Yeah. I kind of feel like that helped also.
I mean, probably.
Because, like, I know that, like, one of my favorite things about the normal Halo games is that, yeah, the Master Chief exists, but he doesn't really say anything, so you can just pretend you're the guy in the suit. But, like, in Reach, is you. So that sort of ties you to it more.
Yeah, I feel like that does lend a level of, like, you are personally witnessing the tragedy happen now.
Yeah. You're part of it. You're not just witnessing it, you are a part of that tragedy
but at
occurring.
first you're just witnessing it.
At first you're just witnessing it, and then you're pulled into it.
The tragedy grabs you by the ankles.
Your strong, orbit-resistant ankles.
Your strong, fall-resistant ankles. Big, strong ankles. Big, beefy ankles that take no damage from any height. I think one of the things that makes Halo Reach enjoyable is the fact that there is you can sprint in it, and I really appreciate it when they put sprint in Halo games, even if it is for some fucking reason a toggleable ability and not a constant thing that you can do.
Well, yeah, you're only a Spartan 3. Get good.
Master Chief can't sprint in game 1 or 2, can he?
No, or 3.
Or 3.
He starts being able to sprint in 4 and 5 and Infinite.
And I was so happy when we played Halo 4.
So 343 invented sprint button.
343 invented sprint. No, because they used the same fucking power system in 4 for sprinting, didn't they?
No, it was separate from the power system they had, which was
separate from the power thing?
Stupid.
No, I'm glad about that.
No, I meant the power system, not the sprinting.
The power system is
the
stupid.
sprinting.
Okay.
As much flack as I give 343, which we'll get to, listeners, eventually. Not here. We're talking about Bungie.
No, it's gonna be a while.
It's gonna be a while. But as much flack as I give 343, I do appreciate that they made sprinting forever. Like, because if there is any character that I would believe to be able to just infinitely sprint, it would be Master fucking Chief.
The thing with I mean, I'm also probably sprinting into the game. That's a very good thing. I don't know why Bungie didn't. Even in for the first 2 games, I get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it for the 3rd one. Personally.
I
don't know why they did the power thing with Reach in regards to sprinting. That was fucking annoying. I'm not as impatient as you when it comes to going through these games, because you blitz through them.
Yes.
But, oh god, my fucking brain could not handle the lack of a sprint button. When you're just after you've killed everything and you're just meandering to the next place. I wanted to. Oh my god.
I think what happened.
I wish I could have like wheelies on my heelies and just go.
Yeah, I think what happened was that technically 3 was a continuation of 2, and they didn't want to change the controls too much. So they just sort of left them alone. Like, I'm not saying like I agree with that idea or disagree with that idea. Quite frankly, I don't care. I can sprint through it regardless. But
You're insane.
But like, I think that was their mentality of like, just like, they don't like, we like, these 2 are very connected and we don't want to like fuck up that connection by having one have different controls than the other one.
That's fair enough, I guess, because when I went through the games and the controls shifted from one to the next, I was very confused because I had just gotten used to the in my opinion, significantly more cumbersome and difficult to use controls of Halo 1 through 3.
Yeah. It wasn't until the spin-off and prequel games of ODST and Reach where they started like adding things like abilities and world maps and different health systems. Well, no, they had different health systems in most of the games, but
yeah,
that like more different health systems than normal.
I would also like to point out that a little bit of absurdity. Like, for a game that kind of started as a physics simulator for vehicles, I understand, like, through that, because that's what Halo began as, Combat Evolved began as. I understand why you would not think to implement a sprint system in that kind of game, but, like,
Yeah.
after it became in FPS, where you also are in vehicles frequently, but it is still a first-person shooter, I
Mm-hmm.
don't get why you wouldn't think to implement a sprint after that point in game evolution. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know. All I know is
Maybe they tried and they weren't able to do it
yeah.
in time. I don't know,
The only
but
thing I can think of for 2 is that it did originally come out on the original Xbox, so it could just be
yeah,
that like
there weren't enough buttons.
there weren't enough buttons or there wasn't enough computing power to be like
There's not enough computing power
I
on the
don't
original
know.
Xbox
I
for
don't
sprinting.
know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe it would cause problems with levels loading.
Yeah,
I
I think
guess.
it would because I remember like every few minutes in a level it would be like loading, loading. So I
Okay.
think that could cause loading conflict. So maybe that's why. Um, but yeah,
That could also just be Bungie coding.
that too. I know that
Maybe Bungie was never very good at programming.
I know for a fact that because I watched a video of some guy who was modding Halo 2 and he realized that the whole thing was horrifically coded. And he had to go through so much shit to figure out how to mod the damn thing. um but yeah, anyway, Reach.
Reach.
Yeah. Another interesting thing about Reach that's different from all the other games is all of the other games have this nifty little other enemy called the Flood, and Reach doesn't. If we go into 343 games, other than no, I'm wrong. If we go into other games, 343 games, there's also another enemy. In the 4 and 5, it's the Forerunner lackeys.
Don't worry about that.
But they don't need to worry about. Point is, every game had the Covenant and something else. Like there was always 2 enemies to fight. Except for an ODST, but we're not talking about that right now. But in Reach, you just had the Covenant.
Which is very nice to me. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because adding the tragedy aspect to it and just like the scale of destruction, adding another enemy would have just made it even sadder to the point of it just being depressing, and B, it's just would have overcomplicated it, honestly.
Yeah, it would not have made sense for the Flood to be on Reach.
That also, it wouldn't have made sense for that. Well, I mean, like, even just, like, another enemy, like, if they had the Covenant and Rebels or something. Like, I think it would muddle it up a lot to have that.
Yeah, you know one thing, one stupid thing that I really want to talk about in the future.
What?
Another one that gets referenced. It's the god awful Halo TV show.
You can do that.
I can do that. I was gonna.
Not right now.
No, I haven't fucking seen it. Of course not right now.
I never will. It's just like I said, you can do that.
No, don't you want to watch this terrible TV show about a thing you love?
It's free on YouTube if you wanna. I'm not kidding. They released it on YouTube. It's that bad.
For free?
Yes. They released the entire season to
Wow.
quote unquote celebrate season 2. Definitely not because it was performing so badly that they might as well just release it on YouTube.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was gonna acquire it through.
Well, here, let me check that.
Means.
Let me check that before I go full on into that.
Sure, the means in which I can acquire it still stand regardless. By means, I think I'm pretty sure I can steal someone's Paramount Plus account.
Let me check. No, I'm wrong. No, am I? Nope, I'm not wrong. I am not wrong. I don't think. Am I not wrong? YouTube, what are you doing to me?
Advertising.
Hold on. Filters. Playlists. View the full playlist. Am I wrong? I might be wrong. I'm just gonna say I'm wrong. This is too complicated. No, they didn't do that. They have a episode apparently. It's fine.
Well, that's okay. I can always get it through the
Totally
means
legal
of,
means.
the means of Brother Dubious.
Piracy.
I don't know any pirates.
Yeah, no. No
Oh, do I look
pirates.
like I live in England circa the 18th century?
Do I look like a Captain
No,
Jack
but you
Sparrow?
definitely could live there.
Thanks. I don't know how else to respond to that. I honestly
I'm
can't
not
tell.
elaborating on how you should respond to that either.
Okay.
I don't feel insulted.
Those in the comments, decide how Cole should have reacted to that.
Get in the car.
Determine whether what I said was an insult or a compliment, or just a thing of note.
Yeah, Halo TV show definitely exists.
Halo Reach does exist.
So does the Halo Reach, which is infinitely better.
Yes.
Even if it was just as a movie, even if you just watch all the cutscenes in order, that's still gonna be a better experience.
The show, yeah.
From what I know about the show, it's doing the weird thing that a bunch of other properties have done, where it's like cutting out the part that's great about doing an adaptation, which is the built-in audience, and just fully disregarding numerous things about the source material. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I need someone to be mad about this.
I am mad about it. I just don't have the context to say specific things.
Exactly.
I'm not watching it. You can't make me.
I'll provide you the context then.
Okay.
If any of it makes any sense. Which honestly, the fucking Halo game lore doesn't make sense after a point anyway. So.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, especially when you bring in the books.
But that's why I don't. But for a rare moment, I might, because the plot of this game is based on a Halo book. Fun fact. It's very...
One of the things...
What?
The fucking verbal equivalent of trying to walk around someone in a hallway and both turning the same direction.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a old Halo book that is not at all canon anymore. Called Halo Reach. I can't go into too much detail about it because I got about a third of the way through and then stopped reading it entirely. But what I do know is that the differences are that there is no Noble Six. It's the Master Chief. George has the robot arm, not Cat. They did a whole switcheroo on that one. And the entirety of Noble Team is Spartan 2s instead of all except George being 3s. So that's a fun fact. It's based on an old book that they changed a lot about, but I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with how much Hello are deviating from the books, like, very immediately.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things that I like a lot about Reach, the game, I don't know if this is true in the book or not, is very, probably, I don't know, never read it.
I read a third of it and then stopped.
It's the fact that, like, Noble Team is all, like, actively from very different places, essentially. It's a multi-ethnic team of a
Yeah.
bunch of different people who all speak very different languages and have very different perspectives on things.
Yeah.
And that's just very cool.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause, you know, especially in, like, fucking, what year was it?
It was two,
Approximately. It's like a range.
9-ish?
2010.
Good enough.
2010.
In around 2010-ish. You didn't really
September
see that
14th
very
of
frequently.
2010.
Okay. Wait. Huh. I'm just connecting dots in my brain. I'll talk about that later.
What kind of fucking dots are you connecting?
Numerous.
Okay.
You didn't really see a lot of that kind of stuff in the 2010s, especially. I would make the argument that, like, even today, it's just not done. Like, there's a greater concerted effort to actively have like a multi-ethnic, multiracial teams of various
Mhm.
people in gaming industry.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of them kind of fuck it up a little bit. But hey, you know, again,
Yeah. Well,
it's the effort. That's where.
that's an aspect of that I like about Reach is that they don't try to like promote the fact that it's a bunch of differently backgrounded people. They just are.
It's not pandering, it's just
Yeah.
a thing.
It's just they just did it. Like it's not
Yeah,
like they're trying to meet an agenda or try to be like, ah yes, we stand with the minorities. They just were like, wouldn't it be cool if George was Hungarian?
we stand with the minorities now that your existence has been deemed acceptable in the country that's most profitable.
Yeah. Like Reach doesn't do that. Reach is just like,
Yeah, George is Hungarian.
yeah, George Hungarian. Either that he at
Everyone
least
is like
speaks
a
Hungarian.
fully different. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to say because like it could just be they're all from different colonies, but like they're at
I
least
mean, it is
coded
like a
to be because it's like
it
yeah,
is an interstellar story. So
yeah, it could be George is from the planet Zenith or something. It's just like I don't know, but he probably doesn't know. He was conscripted at 6.
the rest of the Spartans are Spartan 3s, and so they might have more memories of their
Yeah.
homes.
Yeah.
That they were snatched away from by Halsey.
Halsey.
Oh no, the person in charge of the Spartan 3 program was not Halsey.
No.
By Halsey's protege.
That's also, I think,
Child
not
snatching
correct.
protege.
Child snatching protege.
Oh my god. But yeah, no, they just sort of do that. Which is sort of almost a thing in a lot of the other Halo games, honestly.
They get pretty close to it. And I do like the way in which handles it a lot of the time, which is not always with the best amount of grace.
Yeah.
But also, like, given the setting of the time period, despite all the numerous issues that still exist in Halo's world, it is good to know that at least it is a world envisioned where this specific kind of conflict is not a conflict anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, like even in Combat Evolved, there are female Marines.
All over the place.
Yeah.
None of the Marines really live super long.
No. Well,
Because
literally,
they're not you, the Master Chief, but
the Echo 419. Echo 419 is a pilot in Combat Evolved who's a woman who is there until literally the very end of the game. You don't ever see her, but she is very prominent in the game. She has a very distinct voice. She'll show up to pick you up and drop you off at different missions. And she's neat. And the pilot of the I know we're getting off topic of Reach, but the pilot of the
this is the first episode. We can just
yeah.
chat about the franchise.
Yeah. The pilot
We have
of
passed
the
the 2-hour mark, by the way.
No, we haven't.
We did start recording a bit after 10, a bit after 8, rather.
Yeah. But yeah, the person piloting the escape pod you're in, also a woman. They all die. But still, you've got Commander Keys. Commander Keys is Captain Keys' daughter, and she is a fucking badass. She is just in charge throughout 2 and 3. She is your superior officer.
So I do really like that. That's like one of the things I especially like about Reach, where like because you're actively a part of a team in Reach, you connect to these people a lot more than you do when you're playing the Master Chief, who tends to work fully by himself.
Yes, because he's a rampaging demon of mass destruction. Who am I on a team with? Well, I guess I'm gonna die. As much as I love the Master Chief, I would not want to be within a mile of him.
Maybe it's like a press tour or something where they're like showing him off.
Yeah. This is the Master Chief parade downtown, and I'm not going downtown today. Great guy, saved humanity multiple times. Everyone around him dies.
He's so cursed.
So cursed. Except for the Arbiter, which is why they're friends, I guess. Oh my god. Yeah. Another great thing about Reach, the online gameplay.
Apparently, the best.
Yes. As someone who I have never really been one for online gameplay unless it's with just some friends, because I like hanging out with my friends, fun fact. But like online gameplay.
That's weird. It's weird of you.
Fine, I won't play Lethal Company with any of you. Just fine, whatever. Geez.
Peter doesn't even play Lethal Company.
Then make him.
I can't do that.
Damn. Anyway, as somebody who, really plays a lot of games for their campaigns and stories, or at least just by myself as much as humanly possible, I I don't tend to play matchmaking, and that includes Halo. In Halo 3, there was a matchmaking that was very popular, not as popular as Reach's, but it was very popular, but I never even touched it because I just wanted to play the campaign with my dad all the time. And then Reach came out.
That's pretty cool.
Reach came out, and obviously play the campaign because it's just what we do. And then I
That's what we do in this house. We own the Halo campaign.
yeah. We all play Halo. I'll leave it. I'll get
No
to
other
that.
day.
I'll get to that. Hold on. But anyway, my friends, I think my friends convinced me to play a Slayer game with them with a bunch of other people because it's a 16-player game. And after that, I would play multiplayer by myself because it was just so fun. It was so well made that even I wanted to play it. That is the only Halo game where I have excessively played the multiplayer. Like, no, for every other one, I just did the campaign, and I still just do the campaign. So yeah, that was a highlight of Reach. That I think that and the campaign were both contributing factors to why Halo Reach became everyone's favorite Halo game. It's not my favorite.
That and the fact that most of the Halo games after that were
bad.
less well received.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's that, and Halo Reach was a lot of people's introduction to Halo, funnily enough, because a lot of Halo before that was played by people of an earlier generation. So Halo Reach came out in 2010, and everybody in...
The old.
The old. So everybody in our generation in 2010 played Halo Reach, and that was their first exposure to Halo. And so for a lot of people, not even just the game's quality, just the fact that it's the first Halo game they ever played makes it their favorite.
With each episode, all 10 of our viewers are getting a clearer picture of how old we are.
Yeah. It's just some video pops up online with a conspiracy board. It's got all our faces on it. It's like, I'm figuring this
Our
out.
real world faces.
Oh god, that'd be terrifying. No, just the caricatures. Please, just the
That's
caricatures.
what I pictured. That's why that'd be scary as fuck.
No, I meant like the caricatures, like screenshots of the caricatures from an episode, and just fucking pin them on. It's like, I'm gonna figure out how old they are. I'm gonna do it. But yeah, it was not my first exposure to Halo. My first exposure to Halo was the first released game on the original Xbox.
My first exposure to Halo was the internet.
Fair.
Technically. First time I played a Halo game was when I finally got curious enough about what the fuck it was about. So I rented Combat Evolved from the library.
Very nice. I own all of the games.
You know. Who's your guess?
Yeah, I have the... Well, okay. We've lent the original Combat Evolved to my aunt. But I still count that as owning it. We have the original Xbox Halo 2. We have we have Halo 3 for the 360. We have ODST for the 360. We have multiple copies of Reach for the 360 because these discs keep breaking.
Just like Reach.
Just like Reach. We got 4 for the 360. We got the Master Chief Collection for the Xbox One. We have 5 for the Xbox One. We have Infinite. I have Infinite. I also
that one's
have...
specifically yours.
Yes, that one is specifically mine. My dad's still trying to convince himself to get it, and I keep pushing him to get it, but anyway. And then I also have a 360 version of Halo Wars that I played once ever and never again. Because it was a strategy.
Halo Wars.
Halo Wars is a strategy game that's top-down view. It is nothing like Halo.
Oh, okay. You don't like RTS.
No. Well, yeah, I got it because one of my friends was like, "Oh, you like Halo? There's this Halo Wars," and I was like, "Oh, okay, I've never heard of this," and I got it and I tried it and
Realized why you'd never heard of it.
Yeah. Apparently, Halo Wars 2 was popular, but it's not that part of the franchise is not in my jurisdiction. So I don't know. That one's out of my hands. And if any of you were looking for Halo Wars content, I don't got it. I do the first-person shooters. That's about it. No. Anything else?
I mean, I've already contributed everything that I really could to this episode.
Jokes.
Comedy.
Jokes, as per usual.
The troop of the tropes.
Some might say you're the troopest of them all.
I sure am court jester.
Good for you. How do you feel about that?
Indifferent.
All right. Well, considering the fact that I've exhausted the topic, I think we're done. And we have hit the 2-hour mark now, so.
Well, in that case...
Was that the bite of 87?
Oh shit!